This is the Nothing Phone 2. It was just released today, and in today's real day in life review, we're gonna be putting the camera, the display, and the battery life to the test. We'll be tracking the battery throughout the day. The camera on the Nothing Phone 1 was definitely its weakest area, so I'm gonna be extensively testing that today. I think one of the underrated features with camera quality on a phone is actually audio quality on a phone, because we're all much more likely to deal with bad video, but we're not likely to deal with bad audio. And I think a lot of cheaper Android phones really skimmed out on the microphone quality, especially when you're in a noisy environment. And right now we're in an incredibly noisy environment at lunch hour in a park, and it is packed. There is also one really weird and interesting hardware feature that brings up this bigger question of who is this phone actually for? And that's kind of gonna be the thread line for this real day in the life review. It is 12:10 p.m. The phone is at 59%. They definitely really focused on making this phone not distract you. So like in the briefing, they said many times, we want this phone to not be something that you're on all the time. We want to be intentional with phone usage. The intentional smartphone usage point shows up in actually one of their design features, which is the back LED light. So we saw this initially on Nothing Phone 1, but we're seeing it again here and an enhanced version of it. It's actually a setting on the phone where you can turn on the entire back. It's called the torch. And then when you do that, the entire back lights up. And then there are also features with the back of the phone lighting up, for example, to kind of get the progress of like when an Uber is coming, or you can assign certain apps or people notification privileges where the back of the phone will light up when they message you. So you can, again, be more intentional with your phone. You put it face down on the table, you're not distracted by it, but then you know, oh, I've gotten an important notification. The phone gets warmer than I would expect it to. We were just outside in like a lot of heat. Like the temperature today is, what's the temperature today?
84.2 degrees.
So it's like 84 degrees out in Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius, and the phone definitely feels warm. And in comparison to my other phone, I always use two phones, it feels a little bit hotter. It's also bigger. It's a 6.7-inch display, which is definitely a little bit bigger than the iPhone and also bigger than what it was last year. Just want to make sure I don't die in the escalator right now. I still think it feels like pretty pocketable, and I think the bigger display size means that you can kind of enjoy the new display, which is 1600. It's a brightness, so brighter than last year, and also it's a dynamic high refresh rate. People either really care about that or really don't. It just makes the phone feel fast, like every action is fluid, but it is only 1080p. And it reminds me of what Carl Pei did with OnePlus, of really emphasizing the performance of the phone over other areas of the phone, because I think that when you pick up a phone, if it feels slow, that gives you a really bad first impression. Or Zach, where do you think the chocolate would be? Oh, so did we go upstairs for no reason? Just because the escalator's cool? That's on me. It will show you when you're recording video. That's actually really cool. I like that a lot. I think what's more important than design though, since most people ultimately put their phone in a case, is how it actually works. 1:29 p.m. and the phone is at 45%. Nothing is optimizing for this like intentional phone usage performance, wherein they're like, we only want you to use your phone when you want to use the phone. So that is seen in the fact that you can make the phone monochrome. And I've actually noticed that when I use my phone monochrome, I'm significantly less likely to waste time on it, because the saturation of the colors kind of entices you and pulls you in. And they've done studies on that where actually when it's like less colorful, you're less enthused to use it, which is why advertising tends to be so vibrant, or why thumbnails are so extreme a lot of the time. And I also really like the software in like the widgets. It just looks like a fresh version of Android. It's really hard to create a version of Android that feels as good or different than stock Android in a positive way, and I think that Nothing has done that. So I think that that's pretty impressive. Something that isn't as great that I've noticed is that the speaker quality is not amazing, so even though the display is big, which is nice for media consumption, I feel like it's giving me a little bit to be missed with speaker quality and how loud it is and how much it fills up a room. 2:16 p.m., the phone is at a solid 44%. Oh, this zoom is so rough, I like can't get over it. It seems like it has really decent, solid video on 1x. We'll see when we put it on the monitor. And please let me know also in the comments what you think of it. But anything beyond like 2, 3x, it really like nosedive falls off a cliff. It's 3:30 and the phone is at 36%. So we'll do the last battery check-in tonight. The thing with Nothing is that they don't have any US carrier support. And I feel like when you don't have carrier support, it makes it very hard for a consumer to be like seeking out the phone. A lot of people are not gonna know about it. And people that do know about it will feel like it's a brand risk to take because they're a very new company. What is the customer service gonna be like? What is the longevity of software updates gonna be like? It's a lot of unknowns, so it's a big risk. And so you kind of have to be in the mindset of wanting the two things that Carl Pei and Nothing are optimizing for it to be a good deal. Even with all of that said, I'm really hoping that Nothing wins, because I think having more competition in the smartphone market, and especially a brand that fundamentally cares about making tech fun again, matters a lot because when you're a small company, you can take more risks than you can when you're a more established company. It means you have less money to spend on those risks, so you have to be more strategic with your moves. But hypothetically, you have a little bit less to lose. You can do more out there things like having the back of the phone be a light up phone. And so I think that with this phone, they decided very clearly not to appeal to everyone, but to instead appeal to a person that maybe wants a lower range, mid-tier Android phone and people that just like love technology. And as someone that loves technology, I was incredibly excited when Brilliant reached out to sponsor this video because Brilliant not only is a company that stands for this love of technology, but also teaching us about technology. Brilliant is one of the best ways that I found to learn about math, data science, and computer science very interactively in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm not enough. Like, I think sometimes we don't start a project because we're afraid that it's going to be really difficult. Like, a lot of times when we're procrastinating something, it's not because we're lazy, but it's because we subconsciously don't think that we're good enough to actually complete the task, or we think it's going to be really hard. And I think that's a lot of the reason why people push off learning. And what I love about Brilliant is that they make learning so accessible and so intuitive. They break it down into courses, and they also offer a 30-day free trial so you can kind of get your feet wet without committing. And then once you love it and you want to commit, you can use my code for 20% off an annual subscription, and the code is brilliant.org/NothingButTech. I think that Brilliant is genuinely so cool. They have a course called How Technology Works, which is all about how to come up with a good password or how the recommendation algorithm knows what to recommend you. So energizing and lit up learning new things. So if you want to check them out like me, I'll leave it in the description below. Thank you so much for all of your support. The final battery life check-in on this phone, and I'll catch you next week in another video. Thank you for being here.